G'day everyone, welcome to the XboxEra podcast, episode 53. As you can see, John was unable to join us today, but we're going to carry on because we have a very special guest. But before I introduce him, I'd like to say hi to Figments.
Yep. Hello everybody. I'm here.
Very excited as usual.
Thank you. Very excited.
We also have an XboxEra podcast all-star, I want to say. Our very first guest has returned. Adam Isgreen, creative director at World's Edge.
Hello.
Man, it's been what, since 2019 was the last time you were on this
podcast?
Yeah.
I was saying that I had to reinstall Skype, and the last call on it was you guys from the last podcast. So it's good to be back.
The symmetry is
good
perfect.
to have you back.
Thank you.
Adam was actually our very first guest on one of the earlier episodes of the podcast.
That was an epic episode too, wasn't it? It was like 2 hours long.
I think it is actually to this day one of our longest as well.
It was a long one. Yeah, it was after the failed E3 recording led into a different episode of the podcast.
Now, obviously, for those of us who have been with us from the start, they'll know who Adam is, but we've grown a little bit since then, and there's a lot of new viewers and new subscribers. So for those who aren't familiar, do you want to just give us a little bit of background, Adam?
I'm the franchise creative director at World's Edge for Age of Empires and all the games that we do at World's Edge. I've been in the industry making video games for, it's 2021, right? So 28 years. I'm in my 29th year making video games. I've worked on everything from role-playing games to real-time strategy games, fighters, platformers. I think the only thing I haven't done is like a sports game. Shooters, FPS. Just anything except sports, I think. I haven't had a chance to do this mobile games. Notable games you might know that I worked on before. I worked on most of the Command & Conquer series when those were Westwood. I was at Westwood Studios for years. I worked on some of the late, just as gold box games running at SSI, so Dark Sun. If you're really old like me, you might remember those. I've worked on James Bond games. I got to do Star Wars Empire at War at Petroglyph, which was a lot of fun. So I've worked on a whole bunch of things, and then I was creative director for XBLA for years at Xbox. So also, we touched everything from Minecraft to Ori and the Blind Forest, Killer Instinct, all those other games that came out of XBLA. And now I'm at World's Edge, and our charter is games that make you think a little, and our main focus is the Age of Empires series. So we're responsible for overseeing all of the development of all the Age of Empires games.
Yep. Oh, very good. Were you with World's Edge when you were on with us last time?
No, had we formed World's Edge? That's a good question. We might have been in the process.
I think World's Edge was formed within the next couple or 3 months, I think, after that recording.
We were discussing it, and we were figuring out what we wanted to call ourselves, and I think we've been over a year at World's Edge now as an actual studio, but when we started Age of Empires 4, it was under publishing, and then publishing kind of split. We split off from publishing and formed our own studio to specifically handle all the Age of Empires stuff, because we've got multiple games and all these different communities and everything, and it just was better to have it under one roof, and it would also help us drive the vision of the game and the franchise a little better.
What led to World's Edge as the studio name, actually? Because I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, what led to it?
So that's a great question. We had a bunch of really fun names. The two front runners when we came down to it, where World's Edge came from is actually we were going through all these names, and we were talking about uncharted territory and the edges of a map and the idea of going beyond. And so I'm a big fan of I grew up in the 70s, and so I'm a big fan of Shel Silverstein, who wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends and The Giving Tree and All Light in the Attic and all these books. And Where the Sidewalk Ends has this wonderful picture, right, of this edge of a world with the kids hanging off, and I was like, there's something cool about this, about the undiscovered country right off the map. We talked about names like Here Be Dragons and, all those kind of areas of just, just like an RTS map that kind of end, right? And there's this blackness, and it's like, well, can we do something cool? And The two names that we came down to, and they were very different at the time, were World's Edge and Human Scale. So there was Human Scale Entertainment and then World's Edge were the two. And we had a bunch of really fun ones that were silly, like Idle Villagers was one. And then we're like, oh, that would be great. That would be great in an executive meeting, right? It's like, here's turn 10 and 343 and Idle Villagers. And there's like a peasant sleeping in the logo. I don't think it would have gone over very well with corporate Microsoft in terms of our vision. But we really love World's Edge, and it's just a great way to kind of be like, hey, we want to be pushing things. We want to be on the boundary of exploration in the kind of games that we make. And it's a name that resonated really well with everyone on the staff. And so, that's kind of how we picked it. But it was a list of like hundreds of names and IP searches and all that stuff that involved in all these different directions. The one came down to like, are we making games that are more about things made, and I like Human Scale because it's very open. Yep. That was the reason that I think that one rose to the top two when we were picking, because it's like, well, what is Human Scale? Well, are you a little person? Are you an adult? Are you a kid? Like Human Scale is variable, right? So there was that nice feeling of like, we make things for people, right?
Yeah.
But it's been fun. But World's Edge came out of that whole discussion and exploration, the idea of just kind of pushing past the known.
Yeah. No, actually, I never knew that story, so I'm glad you asked that question, Figments.
I don't think anyone's actually asked us that before.
I don't think I've heard it.
There's your scoop,
there
right?
we go. Like, world's first exclusive.
Yeah.
The origin of the name of World's Edge.
Okay, now, normally the way we start the podcast, and like I said, because we've had Adam on before, we're not fresh to everything about Adam, so we usually go with what have we been playing. So have you guys been playing anything new?
I have been spending a ton of time playing Outriders. It is my current game du jour that I've been playing. I've already maxed out a Pyromancer, and I'm running the expeditions at the post game. And I'm rolling another character as well. And what else am I playing? Destiny 2 with some friends still. We're just grinding out our jumping off cliffs and trials because we suck, and playing Iron Banner and just doing fun things.
Hey, jumping off cliffs is a valid strategy as long as you get the loot at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I know. This is the problem. I have my opinion on what I would love to see out of Iron Banner, but it's not Iron Banner, excuse me, Trials, but it's, I like Iron Banner, actually. Iron Banner's actually really done really well, but Trials, I wish they would take it a different direction, but that's my personal opinion. But I still love the game. I still put a ton of time into Destiny. What else am I doing? Kids. I have two kids, and so we play a lot of Terraria multiplayer. So I have a server that runs in our house, and the kids can all jump in and play. And we run through a bunch of mods and everything like that.
That's awesome.
What else have I been playing? Okay, well, I'll just look at some icons real quick here on my desktop. Mech Mechanic Simulator. That's been a fun one too. I'm a huge fan of mechs, and so anything that I'm taking them apart and putting them back together. Loop Hero. I had a really good time with that one too. That's been enjoyable. Hard Space Shipbreaker, which I love to death. Peeling an onion of a ship that you can blow it up in like 500 different ways is super fun to me. I love those kind of dissection puzzles.
Yeah. That's freaking cool.
Yeah, some time with Valheim, just with friends, again, just goofing off, just trying to understand it and see, because a lot of people really love it, and so I'm always like, well, what is really resonating here? And so I dive into play. But I think those are the big ones right now. Really, the one that I play like when I have some spare time is Outriders. It's the one that I've been spending the most time with. But
God, you have a lot of you're playing a lot more games than I am. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's kind of part of my job. It's like I work and I play, I work on games and then I'm like, I need to relax. Let me play some more games, right? So it's, I can't complain.
Figments, the usual.
I guess, the usual. Lots of Destiny 2. Trying to get, so I was very familiar when you said jumping off the cliffs and trials, because that's what me and my friends did one weekend, just so we can get a decent roll of the Igneous Hammer.
Oh, that's and actually I lucked out and got one early. I got a horrible one earlier today though when we were jumping off.
Oh, nice.
Jumping off. I got one with the perk that they're going to allow you to switch, the one that's like if you're the last member of the fire team. Great for PvP, not good in like any other situation. No.
There's very specific roles for very specific things. But my opinion on Iron Banner is that Bungie needs to stop making it so that matchmaking is either you get stomped or you're doing the stomping. Because that's often what Iron Banner feels like to me and my friends. But that's probably
it varies, right? I mean,
we're at the edge of
every so often.
matchmaking.
I mean, like Trials to me is personally, it's if you get a match where the other team isn't running any Fellwinters, because we kind of as a point don't run it.
Yeah,
it's great. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like even if we lose, it's at least Fellwinter to me though just kind of breaks so many fundamental things about the play.
Well, and the thing that stinks about it too is just
keep going. We can change the subject. Sorry, you can.
Yeah. The thing that stinks about the Fellwinter stuff is just that like Bungie released a shotgun that was more powerful than every exotic shotgun in the game, and you'd think stuff like the exotic duality or the chaperone from year one would actually mean anything, but the chaperone's one perk is now being a slug shotgun is now on 5 different shotguns, and like the only thing it has is just being a really good shotgun, and the duality basically doesn't get used anymore because why use it when the Fellwinters is in the kiosk and you can go buy it like right now and never have to use any shotgun.
The problem with Fellwinter, I mean, they've already identified it, right? It has to do with the handling and the range. The range on that thing, the lethal range. Yeah. I run my resilience on my hunter that I play is 89, so I guess it's in the 80s, right? Because it's only in 10 tiers. Yeah, so I really should do something about. But like, I get one shot by that thing at like not close range. And I mean, like,
it's a sniper at medium range.
Is.
Like
it's a brutal gun.
In the right hands, that thing is just it's nasty. But Destiny 2, that's I think Siege, Rainbow Six Siege. I've been getting into that with my friends too. Back into it, I should say, because we took a long hiatus after the last time we tried playing it. One of my friends got so into it she had to give up. And like give up the game permanently because it was actually being like mentally like toxic for her to keep playing that game. She was really competitive, and she just doesn't want to play games angry anymore.
I know that feeling. I have been there. There are certain games I won't play because of that, because I know I get too into it, and then I will. If I lose, I will become a horrible person.
It is, in all fairness to her, it is an egregiously frustrating game if you don't like accept that. I'm going to be as good as I currently am, and I am okay with that. I'm not going to try and get better, because if I get better, I'm just going to get increasingly angry at myself when I'm not better.
Exactly me. So, which is why I never get that involved in PvP games.
I like playing PvP and like competitive stuff mostly because I'd rather play against a team that isn't goofing off and goofing around too much. Siege has a problem in quick play where enemy teams will try, if they're on defense first, they'll try and peek the windows or try and run outside where they shouldn't be and just wipe your team instantly. And honestly, that's like, yeah, you can do it and the game allows it, but I don't want to play against you. You're just boring. It's just frustrating to play against people like that, that deliberately just try and meme the experience. I had a problem with like that in Modern Warfare last year, where Video Game Donkey, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He fantastic content creator, but the moment he dropped a video on Modern Warfare 2019 where he was running around with a riot shield and throwing knives and getting long streaks of kills is the moment where riot shield throwing knife became the loadout every toxic player in Modern Warfare used. And I don't want to go against a meme. I don't. That actually makes me angry more than the game itself.
Okay.
I don't know. But that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Yeah, no, I'm in a similar boat. Fortnite released Aloy, so I did what I do and I buy those skins for
Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Great game.
Rocket League started Season 3, so I jumped straight into that because Rocket League's virtually all I play. Finally, for the first time ever, cracked my way into champion rank, and then got a slew of horrible partners and went on a shocking losing spree, and I'm now back in Diamond 3. Tried to get back into Modern Warfare 2019, but can I ask, where the hell did this dev era thing come from? That just appeared out of nowhere.
Oh, it's been... Yeah, I don't know what's been going on. Activision has been
It's weird.
pretty lax with the stability updates for Modern Warfare recently, because I think they're trying to focus on pumping out more content for Warzone than paying attention to the Modern Warfare side of things.
It's so annoying. Like, the game just keeps... You try and get into matches and the game keeps crashing and saying dev error, and it puts the name of the map on.
I don't get the dev error. I don't get the dev error, but since Black Ops Cold War release last year, every single time I play Modern Warfare, every 5 minutes, a screen will pop up saying, some of your items have been lost. Please restart the game to retrieve them. Nothing's been lost. I check my inventory and everything's still there, but the message keeps popping up, and reinstalling the game doesn't make it go away.
Weird. I don't know. We had an Xbox night at my brother's place the other night, and Modern Warfare was the game that just kept giving us problems. Halo, strangely, was the game that didn't give us any problems. Master Chief Collection and Halo 5 were great.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Speaking of Halo, there is an update for it,
there was an update for Halo. It was another... The Halo update was another audio one, because they've done an audio one before. And the way they did it was they did it like a Q&A. So they were taking questions from Twitter, and some of the guys from the audio team were going through it. Did either of you watch it?
I haven't seen it yet.
I think I caught some snippets of discussion around it, but I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah. Look, they went through a whole bunch of stuff, like how they put the sounds together. Our guys covered it on the You Had Me at Halo podcast that we have. So
go check that out. By the way,
so watch that where they go into it far more in depth. But I know there was discussion around. I think it was adaptive or dynamic music, and apparently in Infinite, they're going to have situations where the music adapts to whatever is happening on screen. There's some cool stuff that they're doing over there. But, I mean, I've got to say, that's one thing 343 have been brilliant at from Halo 4 even. Like, the audio design and the audio in the Halo games has been... It's been unbelievable from
with some caveats. I think some of the guns in Halo 5's multiplayer do sound a little bit less punchy than Halo 4.
You reckon?
But
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the AR doesn't sound as punchy as it did in Halo 4. Certainly not as it did in any of the games in the Master Chief Collection.
I don't know.
But that's probably just me or my audio setup.
I've always loved the sound.
It's all subjective anyway. Like, it depends entirely on the headphones you have, what codecs are you using, how bad are your ears to loud sounds at this point from listening to, loud music in your car for years.
Yeah.
So
now we also got Capcom had the Resident Evil Village showcase,
which
was interesting. Fun fact: the PlayStation Arabia YouTube account leaked the entire show by accident right before it was about to go live.
So man, I feel for them.
Yeah, I know
that's never fun.
They just posted it. I assume they just, I don't know, maybe there was a time zone mix up, maybe there was and they just posted the link up there, and you could just skip through and watch the whole thing. But Resident Evil Village continues to look great.
Oh, it does. I'm intentionally been staying away from almost all media on it because I love the Resident Evil series, and I'm just like, I want to go in without anything. I just want to be able to walk into that experience and have a great time with it.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling to make my way through 7.
They did announce. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
7 was excellent for about 2/3 of the game, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I loved the first 2/3 of that game, and like the last part, I was like, man, oh god, it just wasn't as good as the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But I mean, good surprise though. They announced a partnership with Facebook to do
Oculus
Resident Evil on the Quest 2.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 4 VR.
Resident Evil 4, right? They're doing 4
Resident
in
Evil
VR.
4. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I might grab that since I now have an Oculus Quest 2. It took a long time.
I have a Quest 1, and I haven't used it as much as I should.
Look, John and Figments have been trying to get me into VR from like when we started the podcast, and I was very
day
resistant.
One. Yeah. Day one.
Very resistant to getting into VR, and then my brother got a Quest 2. He's like, get a Quest 2, because I said to him, I said, look, the Quest 1's a bit older now. There's no point me getting in on the Quest 1 when there's probably going to be a newer one sometime soon. And the wait was worth it, because now I've got the Quest 2, and the Quest 2 is quite cool. Now, what else do we have?
It was honestly just a cool thing to see that they were remixing Resident Evil 4 for VR at all.
Yep.
I didn't expect that.
Itself, I mean, if you're going to make a Resident Evil 4 VR, the 4 I think lends itself really well to it, right?
Yeah.
Just the way it's made.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see some clips.
Yeah,
it looks interesting. I'll be interested to see how it actually turns out when it's all said and done. Yeah. Now, obviously, the main reason we have Adam on, and the bigger news of the week, was the Age of Empires fan preview. That was on last week. We did want Adam on last week, but the timing was just...
Yeah,
we literally record this at the same time I think that the fan preview would have been on. So there's always a, much like the leak from the Resident Evil preview, right? Yes. We always have to gauge no, okay, we're done with all press stuff until this launches, and now the news is out, and then we've talked to press and everything, so now we can talk and follow that up. Yes. So there's always a cadence to that we obey when we're doing events. Yeah,
and even then we had a couple I gotta hand it to Reddit and a bunch of the Age fans for, I think it was Xbox. It was one of the divisions accidentally used a piece of art behind the fan preview banner that was meant for post play, and it showed the Delhi Sultanate a little early. And it is amazing watching the Reddit thread of people going into it and being like, well, this could be this civ or this civ or this. They've got elephants. Oh my God, there's 2 kinds of elephants. This is awesome. And breaking it down. And they're like, I bet it's, someone's like, I think it's the Delhi Sultan. And other people are like, no, it's probably this. And it's great. I love it when fans are able to dissect just from an image, right?
Yeah,
in the background. You can see elephants. And they're like, but the architecture, and it was great. I'm glad that the fans are in some ways keeping us honest. They're finding the cues that we intentionally put in from the style of the civilizations we're representing in the game.
Yep.
And being able to pick up on them and actually figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's a fun backwards puzzle. I got out an hour early, but hey, you know what? They figured it out.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. And look, the fan preview, I watched it myself, and I have to say that the production value on it, the way it was all put together, I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah. And those small snippets of gameplay we got from that too were really incredible. It actually made me hyped to see the game finally for myself.
Oh,
I grew up with Age 2. So. Man, it's been a long time coming, but it looks like it's on the right path.
Oh man, we've been dying to we've been wanting to share forever, and I love to gush about our games. That was probably from initial concept to showing it on that weekend. It was probably 6 months of work by people, a team at World's Edge, a team at Relic, a team with our PR partners and our marketing partners. There was an incredible amount of organization and great, talented people involved in every aspect of that production. So, I thumbs up to everyone that was involved with that. They did an amazing job. And it was a labor of love for a lot of us. We love Age of Empires. We love what Age can mean to all of its fans. And they're such big games, right?
Yeah. So they're a lot bigger than people realize too, I think.
Yeah, and finding something that can appeal to every kind of gamer, is always a challenge because, we have people on our team that are very hardcore players, and so they're literally going through the video frame by frame and saying that farm is inappropriately placed based on harvesting speeds. That should be 1 cell closer, 1 square closer to the bushes and blah, and everyone's going to freak out over that. And some of us, like myself, were like, that's okay. Actually, I'm glad that that's in there, that people will start to do those kind of things and be like, is that ideal placement? Is that how it's going to work in Age 4? What's different? I love that. Because we have games already in the wild, right, that are Age games and the definitive editions, right, and Mythology and all the others that people love, that they put so much passion into, that they see a new one and they're like, wait, but this is working like this or that, or they're pouring all of their love into the new one to try to figure out what's going to be, how it's going to be, and it's great. So, but yeah, the fan event was. Whew, I'm glad we got through it.
It was put together. It was put together brilliantly. There's been complaints in the past about the formats that Microsoft goes with their show, but I thought that this show just brilliantly straddled that line of, it was lighthearted, but didn't get into the cringe territory. It showed off the footage really well. It just the way it was all put together. I thought
it didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
It showed what needed to be said. And
Thanks.
It was
let the interview.
Yeah, the
fly after
pacing
that.
was good.
Thanks.
It was actually a really, really good. Like the show itself and the production value, the way it was put together, I thought was really, really good. The team did a good job.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much. I mean, I will take that back to the team at World's Edge and Relic and everyone and let them know. But yeah, the response has been great, and I understand that there are things that people see and they're like, but because they want Age to be the thing in their head that's perfect, right? And the most amazing thing, because they want to pour so much time and energy and effort and love into playing the game. So I get it. Like when people are passionate and. I love the thing with the one that's like, this really bothers me, and it's the arrow, right? And it's funny looking at. I'll speak to that for a second because I know people are like Arrowgate, but so for us, I play Age 4 almost every day, right? Every day of the week generally, and sometimes on the weekends I'm like, I got to try this strategy, but. That footage was taken months ago from where we are today based on the game. So things have improved. So your arrows aren't as big. The arc paths are much better. Are they like perfect? I can't say that for sure. We're going to keep polishing and tweaking things, right? As the game gets towards launch and even after, right?
Yeah. We're
competing with a series of Age games, right? Age 2 is 20 plus years old. Age 3 is 13. I'm going to get it wrong. But anyway, we have a lot of time.
Be careful, Adam. Don't get it wrong.
It's going to be wrong. I'm going to get called out. Everyone can bury me, and how dare you not know? That's okay. It's okay. But, we're competing with games that have had metas and development and polish and refinement for 10 plus years each in a big way. And so people are, very critical about things that aren't exactly the way they are in the previous games. And that's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
We're going to keep improving. We're going to keep listening to fans, making everything better.
Yep.
But fan preview, man, lots to love. Lots of little things hidden in there. Like, are they going to pick up on this? What about doing that? Like, I wish. No, actually, I don't have any like bad things to say about fan preview. Like, it came off really well. We're always worried. Oh God, please don't leak. Let us have our moment to discuss this. The campaign is complete. Like, we're doing campaign. I've made probably over 10 RTS games over the years I've been in development, and I have never seen an RTS game doing what we're doing when it comes to the story and how it's presented. And you could see that kind of in the live action footage with the golden soldiers and everything like mixed in on real world locations. And there's so much like, what's the best way to say it? We wanted to be a really great like teacher of history, like an enthusiastic and celebratory teacher of history. So, when you say like the show came across as feeling like upbeat and like positive, that was all part of the DNA that we've kind of established at World's Edge, which is embracing all the things that make Age wonderful for an audience all over the world.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a daunting task. So I'm glad to hear that we're, doing the right thing so far.
Yeah, and you showed
on the topic.
You showed a lot though. So was the intention to go full in depth and just lay it all out? Like I'm guessing, because I haven't been following Age 4's development super closely, but it was the intention to lay it all out, or is there still more stuff you're revealing closer to launch, or you're saving for launch?
Like, I mean, there are 3 more campaigns we haven't talked about that are in the game. Okay. We have 4 more civilizations we haven't revealed. We gave a very brief tease on naval, but we haven't gone into anything on naval. There's a whole bunch of other things as well that we're kind of holding, and we'll release those as we get closer and closer to launch later this year.
Yeah.
You wanted to ask
on the
something.
topic of of like legacy, of like looking back at the old age games and trying to draw inspiration from them. I remember way back when, I don't know if it was between Age 2 and Age 3 or slightly after Age 3, before Ensemble got dissolved, there was an image that was circulating around where it was showing the plans for Age of Empires of like 1 in the far past, the 2, and 3 and 4 was supposed to be far
3
future.
Was like Vietnam.
3 was like
it looked like Vietnam or like World War.
I think it was 4. I think 4. It was like 4 was Vietnam.
And then
no,
5
and then 5 was
space.
space. Yeah. Like, so what made you guys think, okay, we need to like go back to the roots of Age of Empires versus following that original like quote unquote roadmap that Ensemble had an idea for the franchise back then?
Well, I mean, I think there are a couple things. Is that one is that you have really excellent historical World War I and II RTS games from Relic. Right, like we don't really need to go there. The other thing is that the game is called Age of Empires, not necessarily Age of Nations.
What should I draw on?
What should you draw on?
I was waiting for that cameo.
Oh,
I was waiting for that cameo.
Oh, it's just waiting to come in, right? Every podcast, you get my favorite.
No.
So, sweetie, I think downstairs on your chalkboard. That's the only place you
I'm
can
in a
use
similar
those.
boat.
But you can also use them on. You can also use them on concrete.
Okay, well, we can't go outside right now. Maybe when Mom gets back, okay?
But Dad, I think you can draw them with paper.
I don't know if they'd be really successful on paper. Those are chalk, sweetie.
Let's chalk.
Chalk is like, it's kind of like it's chalk. It's kind of like I don't even know what to describe it like that. That's a great question. Like, what is chalk? Chalk is chalk. It's like a kind of a powdery substance that rubs off on things, sweetie. So it's not going to work well
We
on
need to
paper.
get the German Shepherd in now. Where's the dog?
Oh, what, Cosmo?
Yeah. We need to get the dog in now because I had my cat in the background and she's been meowing.
Okay,
we'll
just get this over with. Cosmo, come here.
Where is he?
Where'd he go?
Nah, he's not coming. There he is.
There he is. Okay, there's the dog. Come here, hi. Come here. Come here. Now you got
Oh man, that's such a cool one.
All right. Okay, there we go. We got that out of the way. Like, hang on a second.
I was waiting for that cameo and I forgot to actually, I was gonna say, I actually forgot to say at the start. I was gonna say to you, if the daughter wants to come on and if the dog wants to come on, no worries. Because I watched the podcast you did the other day where she came in as well. I thought that was funny.
The Stuffy, and we did, by the way, have an epic Stuffy battle afterwards. After that show, there were Stuffies flying through the air, and it was crazy. It was mayhem. And then another one happened this morning because apparently it's now a thing.
Yep.
Oh wow!
It's like epic Stuffy battle. So yeah, my son got involved. It was great. It was mayhem. The dog was in there. It's just,
now, Age
nuts.
4
Go ahead.
wasn't the only thing that was covered. We had the Age 2 Definitive Edition, Dawn of the Dukes.
So we have a second expansion coming for H2 Definitive Edition that's adding some new civs and campaigns.
And co-op.
Co-op campaigns for the first time.
Oh, wow.
I'm very excited about that. I love the idea of co-op. Much like every other game, team games always seem to generate a lot more positivity and people have a lot more fun when they can like play together, and one of the most popular ways to play Age of Empires is, comp stomps, essentially you and your friends playing against AIs, right, in multiplayer. And we really want to just kind of embrace that and really take it even further. And the thing I love is that what we do with every Age game is we kind of look at the things that the audience wants or what they might want and be like, hey, could we do something here that would be really fun? And if it's successful and it works out really well, then we're like, hey, can we bring this to the other Age games in a new way, for those games specifically?
Yeah.
So, something like Art of War, right, that we put into H2, right, the training missions that kind of teach you how to like fast castle and how to get boar and all those things that are really important for the meta that's developed in H2.
Yeah.
And then, they're so popular. We have a ton of people playing those that we put them in H3, right? We're like, well, we gotta have them in H3 now. And then, now they're going to be in H4 as well, right? That we're going to have Art of War campaigns so you can learn the nuances of each game. And I love that. So we'll see where co-op battles go. They're going to start in H2 DE, and we'll see how they do, and we'll see what people respond to, and then we'll go from there and see how they take off. But yeah, I'm really excited about co-op. Like I love co-op to death. It's something I can play with my kids. I can play with my wife. We all love playing co-op games. So yeah, for the family thing, in Age, we always want to be that game, right? We want to be a game that anyone in the family can play. So I'm really looking forward to it for Age 2.
And we also got Age 3 details as well. So was it United States? And we got African
United States
civilizations as well.
There's new stuff coming for Age 3. The United States Civ is amazing. What I love is Forgotten Empires is to the point where when they're thinking about civilizations to add for 3 and for 2, they're at a point where they're like, we're going to start breaking some eggs, which is great. I think it's almost a little bit of the influence from Age 4 is that we're pushing the civs further apart and playing around with some more unique mechanics. And the USA Civ is awesome. Like they do things, all the like going with the different states and their different charters and the way that they play. And I love it. I love seeing the kind of creativity. And they're working on a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to talk about that I'm like, oh, I cannot wait until people get to see these. But yeah, it's really fun. And then USA Civ, I'll just play it right now just because I'm going to. Because hey, I'm from Microsoft, so hey, play our games. Yeah. But like the USA Civ is available right now for free. You just play a bunch of challenges. They're in Age 3 DE, and you can get the Civ for free, or you can buy them. I think it's $4.99 US on Steam in the Windows Store, and they're great. Like I would highly recommend trying them out if you like Age 3. It's a great Civ, and they play really uniquely. We even got the voice actor back. Like one of the voice actors that was in the original Age 3 that did some of the US character voices. We got them back to do new dialogue for the units and things like that.
That's really cool.
That's good.
Yeah, we're trying really hard to do our homework, right? Yeah. So it's like, are they still voice acting?
I was about to say, it's good. It's good when you can get those people to come back, tap into that nostalgia really well when you do that.
Oh yeah. It's been a lot of fun. So. Yeah, I mean we have so much going on the age side, on the development side, right? That every game is getting love, and it's great, and it's great to see that every month more and more and more people are playing Age of Empires games, and it's who would have thought 20 plus years later, we're taking a huge amount of time every time we have a Hidden Cup or a Wololo. Any of those events in Age 2, like the amount of spectators we get in multiplayer is incredible. It's so much bigger than it was 20 years ago. It's amazing.
That's good. Now, one other thing I did see, and I'm interested. If you know, I'm interested. Who designed? I assume it was Alienware, but who designed that limited edition, one of a kind? The Age of Empires Alienware desktop PC that you're giving away.
Now, when you say designed, what do you mean? Do you mean the components?
No. The actual
do you mean
art. The actual art design on it.
Yeah, the case. Yeah.
I don't want to get it wrong here. One of our internal artists did this really great backdrop. That's the blue with all the different symbols on it. And I believe that's what they used for part of the wrap, is that. So it was someone internal in World's Edge that designed it, but I might be wrong. I do remember that it seemed to be that she was the one that brought it in, and she uses it as a backdrop, and like some of our producers do. So it might be that, but it was someone on the team somewhere.
Oh, so it was at World's Edge, someone at World's Edge. It wasn't Dell or Alienware.
No, I believe that was someone in our studios here, but they've been great partners, right? Like all the hardware people we work with have been awesome, and it's great to see that every time we talk to a hardware partner, or we talk to a chip maker or a video card person, they're like, "Oh my God, we love Age of Empires!" Right? Like, how do we get involved? Like, can we help you make the game even better on our cards and hardware and everything else? So, yeah, it's wonderful to see that there's a great amount of people that want Age to be great and want it to succeed and want it to do well and want to love it. Yeah. So. Again, no pressure or anything on us.
Yeah.
But
now,
still feeling it.
It could be that I've missed it, or that you have it. Do we have a date yet? A firm date on Age 4?
No, just later this year.
I didn't think there was, but I thought in case I've missed it, there wasn't a firm date yet, was there? Okay.
No firm date. We haven't given an actual specific day.
I think it was just fall 2021, right? Fall 2021.
And but I believe you can put it on wish lists and everything like that. So you can follow along and know.
We're in a time now where firm dates are quite hard to pin down for just about.
They're very ephemeral. They're just kind of in the ether somewhere.
Like even Windows now are getting harder to sort of nail down. Like, because how much of the team is still working from home? All of it, or?
All of it.
Oh, look.
Yeah, every team, Relic, ourselves, we have help. We have people from the Forgotten Empires team that are working with us on Age 4, especially with multiplayer. And, we have people all over the world that are working on it, and pretty much everybody is distributed. So that's, one of the reasons when you say like, oh, this specific date versus a window, it's like, yeah, well, we're all working from home and situations have changed. I love working from home, but there are distractions sometimes.
Yeah, look,
like okay, I'm working.
You'll have to forgive my ignorance on that one, because in Australia now it's all virtually back to normal. So, if anything, workplaces are trying to force everyone back into the office here. So,
yeah, that's going to be an interesting. It'll be curious. We have Microsoft's been great about that. We have a very flexible plan in terms of how much we're going to be in the office versus not, and. But it's going to be fascinating if they ever say like, hey, everyone has to come back. I don't know if everyone's going to come back. I mean, me personally, I'm like, I love it. I'm fortunate enough to have a room I can work in and kind of have it all set up, right? So, I love interacting with other people, right? And that's such an important part.
That's right. I'm trying to force my way to staying home. I don't want to go back. They want us to come back, but I really don't want to come back. Especially now that the kids are at school and I don't have to worry about homeschooling them. I absolutely love being at home. Were you trying to say something, Kyra?
I mean, earlier we were on the legacy discussion with like choices and stuff, and I think we got interrupted by.
We did. We had the element of chaos. Yeah. No, please, let's jump back.
No, go for it if you want.
Yeah, so it was just so what was the decision that led to trying to go back to Age's roots instead of trying to follow that initial quote unquote roadmap?
Oh, okay, back to that piece, that image. Well, once again, like I said earlier, I think part of it was, Relic does great real-time strategy games within the World Wars, the context of the World Wars, and that was something we're like, well, we don't want to step on that. I mean, that they're great and they're quality, and they really kind of go after what was unique about how those wars played out. And then you look at space, and I mean, our series is called Age of Empires, right? Yeah. And empires existed to a certain time period, and then it became nations, right? And everything that we have today. And so it was a conscious choice on our part that, one of the things that we wanted to do is we have a whole bunch of pillars that we created in terms of how our studio philosophy is run at World's Edge, in terms of like how we support, human endeavor and how like I said, how much of a passionate history teacher we want to be, and how we want to help educate people, and how we want to uplift and represent cultures and all these things. And what we did is we went through that is when we looked at all the different genres and time periods that we could take. A lot of people I know were like, hey, what about Napoleon and the Napoleonic era and all that? And we're like, yeah, that's cool. But warfare also started to really become more specific, right, and more homogenized in some ways, like, guns and tanks. And now, granted, there's still a ton of variance within those things, as anyone that plays a World War II game or is into things like tanks will tell you. There's a ton of different tanks and different armors, and I happened to work at SSI long ago in my career, and so I got my fill of like real military, like World War II military accurate data, and people that would call and be like, hey, I was in World War II in one of these tank brigades, and this tank could not do this, and it would break down all the time, and blah, and like, wow, this is like literal data from people that were driving these things. So there's a lot of diversity there, but what we really wanted to do is when we took a step back and said, hey, we want to really look at history through a different lens, and you can see this through the way we're kind of doing the campaigns. Suddenly there were all these stories to tell in the medieval time period, and we just kind of went, the accessibility of it, the idea of kind of what we're doing with the campaigns, these stories that we want to tell, how we want to we're going to educate people in a fun way, and I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm going to learn something. Oh, why am I? That's never. But I think we've did a great job at kind of making this game that you're going to learn some things about history. You're going to learn things about, especially if you live in Europe or other places that we have other campaigns, that you will find something that you'll be like, oh my God, that's like down the street. There was a major battle outside of my condo where like the fate of this entire part of the country was decided. Like there's some amazing things that happened. And we wanted to really dive into that. And there were so many stories to tell. I think the thing to say is that, as we look at Age and where we're starting with Age 4, that doesn't mean that's where we're going to end up. The idea of Age 4 is it's more platform. So, how far in the future, how far in the past we go as we grow and add things to the game, I don't know yet. I really don't. Like, when someone says, hey, what's age 5? Because there's always people like, what's next? What's age 5? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
age 4 is not even done yet.
we're not. We've got 20 years of meta to catch up with, and all these other things going on in all the age games. I don't know what age 5 is. And there are tons of things we've thrown around and all that kind of stuff, but there hasn't been anything yet that's stuck, right? Because there's like, how do we portray history accurately? How do we celebrate humanity and its achievements? Like, is there something there that would be incredible that we could do in a way that we could make a game beyond? But we're not there. We have age 4, we've got everything we want to do about the definitive editions, we've got other stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of things in the works that we've got before I even start thinking about an age 5.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure. And I assume it's a long-term plan
here.
for 4.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Now, I'm aware of time because we did start this later than we were planning to. So before we go to our community questions, we need to give a shout out to our patrons who support us and are growing, which is great, and we're very, very thankful. So the tier 1 patrons are great, but the tier 2 and 3s are amazing, and so I need to give a shout out to, this list is getting longer, which is good. The Scarecrow 121.
It's always a good problem to have.
Torn Raptor, Nodian, Shadowgasm, Blast the Base, Big M Iced Coffee Milk, Nadorius, Somnia, Dylan, Saint Irv, Jose Pagan, VK Andrew, Sowing Shade, K, Knockjack, Keras, and Crazy Spaz. Thank you all for your support. It's great and we appreciate it.
And the creative name.
Yes, very. I say it every time, but I'm a big fan of Big M Iced Coffee Milk. I absolutely love that name. Okay, now, so to the community questions. Now, we are doing something a little bit different, and I'm hoping time permits. So we're going to go through the patron questions, but in honor of your appearance, Adam, the Age 4 community did reach out to me. And they wanted us to ask you a few questions. So I said to them, look, I can't promise anything, but we'll do our best to cover what we can, because, again, I am aware of the time constraints. But patrons get first dibs. So we go to the Patreon questions first. Now, Proven. Hello, Adam. We don't even get a hello. Well, there you go. You probably get this question asked a billion times, but I will ask again. Do you ever foresee Age making its way to console? Has it ever been discussed at all, or is it something that isn't feasible for controller gameplay?
Well, the last part of that question is actually the crux of everything that we think about when it comes to putting a real-time strategy game on a console. Okay. So one of the biggest challenges is that when we're playing a PC game, you're using, I use a trackball mouse because I'm an absolute mutant, but you move a mouse around, right? And it's all about specific targeted input, right? You are clicking on a specific thing, a specific area. You're saying to go here, do this, do that. But at the same time, then we get to a controller, and controllers are about driving things, right? Like most games in a console, you're driving a thing, a person, a vehicle, right? Something like that. You're not specifically doing things, you're pushing something in a direction, you're moving it, right? Even FPS, all that, you're pushing your viewpoint through the game, right? So that is you may think like, oh, that's okay, that's a hurdle. That is a huge hurdle. So right now we're focused on PC and making great PC RTS games, and obviously there are a lot of people that saw our content and were excited. There's some people that saw our content and were like, yay, but critical, and that's cool. So we still have ways to go, right, on PC. Have I given thought to it? Yeah, of course. I've done multiple console RTS games in the past. It's always something we think about, right? We have a wonderful opportunity now that we have things like xCloud and all those kind of things. And is there a way that we can help those people play? And would that be great if we could? So are we thinking about it? Absolutely. Do I have anything to announce or anything about a console version? No, but much like, we constantly hear about people like, hey, where's Age of Mythology? Like, I get it. I hear you. We hear you on the console as well. The only thing I can say is just, stay tuned. We'll see what happens in the future. But right now it's all on PC.
Something I will say, though, because I've got a friend who I know will be watching this who asks, we talk about it all the time because he's a big Age fan, but again, he prefers his console over his PC. So
Sure.
we know that obviously Xbox now supports mouse and keyboard for games.
Yeah.
We also know...
I was just about to get into this. I think
we also know that there's no issue. Guitar Hero, Dance Central, all these other games that have DJ Hero. All these games.
Oh God!
All these
DJ
games.
Hero.
That's the limit. I've still got the limited edition DJ Hero. That's it back there.
Nice.
There are these games that force accessories, and people buy them under the understanding that if I want to play Guitar Hero on Xbox, I got to get the guitar with it. If I want to play Dance Central, I got to buy Kinect. Would it not be possible? And again, this may be a discussion you guys have had, maybe not. Would it not be possible with Age if there was to be a console release where you can say, listen, Age is a very PC-focused experience, and on the box, you need to have a mouse and keyboard on Xbox to play this game?
We've had those kinds of discussions, and I was saying wow, wouldn't it be fun? When I say this, I mean it wouldn't be fun, but wouldn't it be fun to be the first person to ask Xbox platform, hey, we want an exception for requiring a controller for input. We want a keyboard and mouse only.
Yeah.
I think Phil would personally come to my house and just smack me, and I kind of wouldn't blame him, to be honest. There would be so many people, so many people love Age of Empires. And like you said, there are people all over the world that play, and we could just do mouse and keyboard, but I don't think that's the right thing to do, right? It would do a disservice to Age of Empires, and it would really hurt, I think, a lot of people that would be I want to play, you need a mouse and keyboard? I don't know about you, but I can't speak for everyone that owns a console, but I don't I have a desk, right? I'm in my little office here in my house. Yeah. And I have an Xbox. I have a Series S hooked up here that I have on a little TV that I can play if I'm not doing a meeting or something like that, and I want to look at something. But, here is the only place that I have a desk that I can have a mouse and keyboard on. When I'm down on my couch on the bigger TV, with the Series X, where am I going to put a keyboard and a mouse and everything else? And I love that we're doing, Razer has an awesome peripheral for this, but I don't think it'd be fair to the console community for us to just do that.
Fair enough.
I think that, I think, this is just me personally saying this, I think it would generate a lot more negativity than positivity if we did something like that and left out all those people that want to experience Age. So I would much rather get PC great, and then we'll think about, like I said, we'll think about what we can do for console or anything else. We're exploring all this kind of stuff. Yeah, look, nothing yet.
The only reason I brought it up was because obviously games do exist that force a certain peripheral on the player. That's all, and obviously far more expensive than a mouse and keyboard.
Well, but you can play DJ Hero with a controller. It's just not optimal.
Well, that's
you could argue. You could argue
Dance Central's
that, right?
Probably
they don't shut anyone out from playing with these things. Guitar Hero, you do the same thing.
That is true,
right? So that's what I wouldn't want to do. I don't want to shut the people out that want to use this, because this is an amazing controller, by the way. But I don't want to. I couldn't do that to fans. That to me would feel like we'd be dishonest with our Xbox fans. And,
that's fair enough. We covered that question in great detail. Okay. The Scarecrow121. Firstly, Nick, when did you last have a meat pie? It was a while ago, mate. It was sometime early last year. Now, proper question. Glad to have you back, Adam. The Age show was brilliant, and the teams have done an amazing job. Now, what part of your job is the most fun that we would not know about or understand?
Oh, boy, that is a great question. What part of my job is the most fun that you guys wouldn't understand is fun, or wouldn't understand that I have to do?
He just says, now what part of your job is the most fun that we would not know about or understand?
Oh, okay. So a large part of my job is actually being an editor and being the person that sees all of these different elements that are coming in from all the different teams and kind of glues them together into things. And to me, that is one of the most delightful things when there's an opportunity that I see based on where we're going and what we have, that if we paired certain things together, that it would be even better result. one of those things was like, to give an actual example, that's Art of War, right? Like I was like, hey, I want to educate people. I see a better path here for tutorials. How do we do it? I want to do something that's more relevant to the game. And I love that kind of stuff. Like to me, that's a super fun part of my job that I get to do. And part of that requires interacting with all the teams and knowing. So one of the fun things I get to do is hear and listen to everyone else and what they're doing and what's going on and how everything is running, from not just the creative things, elements, right? Like audio, narrative, design, art, but also, tech and everything that's going on with the live platform and everything that's going on with Xbox, and being able to be exposed to all of that and then be able to help like put that in a way that we can support platform initiatives and make the games better at the same time and make the team super excited and make fans delighted. Those are the things I love that I get to do. But that's kind of a big one, but that's a good question. Thank you. That's an awesome question.
All right, next we've got Dio Game. A question for Adam. I apologize in advance for the verbosity. Okay. We've seen core Xbox franchises branch out into different subgenres like Forza Horizon, Fable Heroes, Halo Wars, Spartan Assault, and Gears Tactics /Pop. Do you foresee a potential IP expansion for Age into new genres, like maybe turn-based strategy or action-adventure, like Total War did with Total Warrior? Or are your goals mostly just supporting the game as an RTS going forward? Cheers.
Great question. Thank you for that.
That's a really good question.
That's
that
a
is a great
fantastic
question. And as you may know, there actually was a DS tactical Age of Empires game done at one point, and it was great. It was an amazingly good game. As a matter of fact, I wish I could find my copy of it because I'd love to play it again on my DS. But so yeah, we're always thinking about ways that we can expand the game beyond real-time strategy. Age of Empires is such a wonderful series, and when you look at it through the lens of, we have Age of Empires, we have Age of Mythology, we have all these other ways to kind of like have outlets for the game. I'm constantly, as a creative person, I'm constantly like, oh, we could do this or that or that or that. Now, some of my ideas are completely ludicrous and should not be made into games, by the way, because they would be horrible or they would. Are
you going to give us any of those ideas?
No, absolutely not. I'm not gonna do that to you.
Yeah, because then
you to the horribleness.
Yeah, like 10 minutes after this episode comes out, there's going to be articles saying, "Look at all these game ideas that got canceled at World's Edge."
Oh, that happens at all studios. I mean, we wouldn't be the only ones to do that, but it's always fun to think about how Age can show up in other places, right? And not just in RTS or maybe even not just in games, right? And that's part of the thing that we look at when we think about it from a franchise level. So yeah, we're always having those discussions and thinking about those things, but nothing concrete. I can't point to anything specifically. But yeah, great question.
It's funny, like as soon as I heard that question, I'm like, what about if Age of Empires like a Musu? Like remember 99 Nights or like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity?
Yeah.
And there's waves of enemies and you're trying to take down this castle, but you're doing it at that.
I mean,
I feel like
Warriors, right? Like, check out. Did you see the trailer for the Dynasty Warriors movie? It was like, I'm so in. Like things are flying everywhere. It's great.
Yeah, I feel like you have to pick specific periods of history to make that work, though. Otherwise, it's just like you can end up making a silly like Muso game out of something that was like vitally important to a culture or something. You have to be very careful how you walk.
Absolutely. I mean, everything we do will be respectful to the cultures we represent.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of a cornerstone of our philosophy at World's Edge.
Okay, next question. I like that question. Roman Bob. I know Age is based on real cultures and factions, but could we ever see something where we had the ability to get a mod or download a fantasy era pack letting us play as factions of fictional worlds like Westeros? Unlikely, because it seems there might be a browser-based RTS already. Middle-earth or the world from the Wheel of Time. Thanks.
Well, I mean, like the great thing about Age of Empires, all of the games, is that they've always been very moddable, right? People make mods and packs for them at all times. We're not going to get in the way of that. So, I mean, if that's an outlet that fans want to do and explore, then heck, go for it. I mean, there was even, I don't know if you remember, there was a Star Wars Age of Empires game. And
official
it was,
or a mod?
Oh yeah, it was launched. It was a long time ago. Wow. I can't even remember the name now. It was like licensed Age of Empires, but you had stormtroopers picking berries.
Wow.
It was awesome. Like it was super fun. But yeah, I mean, like we've explored things like that. personally want the fans to really do that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And really pour their
Yeah.
love into that. And do it in a wonderful way. Like there's such a rich, fertile ground there for doing mods and things like that and conversions. So yeah, have at it.
Yeah. I have to say though, the idea of Age doing an official pack like a Lord of the Rings one, and there's like a big battle of that would be full on.
Man, I tell you though, but like the Lord of the Rings RTSs were so good, right? And a lot of the people I know were from Westwood that, when we got split up, worked on the Lord of the Rings RTS games. I was doing other things while they were developing the first one at EA, but those are great games. I mean, if you want to experience it, play it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Battle of Helms. There's some great stuff in those.
That actually reminds me of a question that I just had. Was just like, so modding is a huge part of the community, obviously. Is there any plans from the studio to support, like, have official mod tools or anything like that? Official Steam Workshop support, stuff like that?
I can't speak to Steam Workshop, but we will have official mod tools. They, based on the pipeline and everything, I don't know if they're all going to be available at launch. We might do a beta of them and then have them come online. But absolutely, we're going to have mod tools. It's part of Age of Empires. We couldn't really be unfair to make like an Age of Empires RTS and not have mod tools.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Okay, next question. Torn Raptor. Hi, guys. Good to see Adam back on deck with the XboxEra crew. See, some people remember you were there at the start. Firstly, if you had the opportunity to visit any of the studios owned by Microsoft and meet the team, take a pick or two, who would it be? I would love to visit Obsidian, as I have adored them since KOTOR 2. What else is there? It would honestly have been great when they used to do Inside Xbox to have studio visits when a game is close to release. Getting a peek at a studio's layout or meeting the team would be cool. So that's the first part of the question. So we'll go with the first part first. So
I've been fortunate enough to be included in a lot of what the other studios are up to, and we have design summits that all the creative people from all the studios get together and chat about things they're doing in their games or lessons they've learned, and it's a wonderful experience to get exposed to all these different studios. But which studio would I love to like? All of my interactions I've had with everybody that's working on Perfect Dark have been amazing. Like I'm super stoked about that. Tim Schafer is always an incredible guy to talk to. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Brian Fargo yet. I would love to talk to him because I grew up playing Bard's Tale, all those games. So there's a lot of people. I mean,
what about Bethesda? Have you visited any of the Bethesda studios?
I have not yet, but the great thing is on our recent design summits, all the Bethesda creatives were in there as well. And so that's been awesome now that we have everyone kind of in and chatting about games and where they're going and sharing knowledge our knowledge, the amount of people and creative people just got huge, and it's great. Like, I'm very excited. I don't know what's going on in the Bethesda studios, but I am very, very excited for what they're doing and what just the stuff that I hear from the public, right? In terms of all the little rumors or things that could be going on. So which studio would I love to visit? I've never actually been to visit Rare, like on the actual campus, Rare's campus. And everyone has told me how delightful it is. And, Craig Duncan and his team and everyone at Rare are so awesome that I would kind of love to go and hang out at Rare for a little bit. Just to say hi and see the studio and kind of what goes into it, because I've always loved their output. But it's unfair because there's so many great studios now, and like, yes, I would love to spend some time with Tango Gameworks and see what's going on, and there's so many Bethesda studios I would love to visit as well. So we'll see over time, but yeah.
Todd Raptor has a second part to the question. Also, will World's Edge operate only as like a publisher to the Age games, or will they eventually be a development studio also? Thanks.
So we're actually not just a publisher right now.
Think you were.
We actually work. We have people on every discipline that works at World's Edge, and we contribute to all of the games that we work on. So we're kind of like a development co-partner. In some ways, that we assist in things, we help with platform tasks and things that require more direct connection control with platform, or like cool initiatives and things like that. So we work on the games directly, as well as being kind of the shepherds of overall of the franchise. Future, I don't know. We'll see. This has been a great relationship. The biggest thing that I would worry about if we were doing internal development is we have people and teams from all over the world helping us make Age of Empires games. And we also have players from all over the world playing Age of Empires. It's not just North America. It's not just Asia. It's not just Europe. It's everywhere, right? It's the Americas, it's Europe, it's Africa, it's Eastern Europe, it's all of Asia. And exactly what you said, we need the perspectives. So having people from different cultures contributing to Age of Empires and growing it, to me, is a bigger win than us just, sometimes here in Redmond, outside of the Redmond area, outside of Seattle, we call it the Redmond bubble. Because everyone here is kind of doing our things and we're all crazy tech people and, oh my God, we're going to do this and blah. And it's like the Redmond bubble. And I don't want Age to just be built in the Redmond bubble, right? I guess is the way to say it. Like, as a component, sure. But like I want, and everyone on the team, Shannon and everybody all wants Age to be something that's kind of driven by a worldwide developer. And so for us, that means looking for partners from all kinds of different places that can help us grow Age and bring all of that interesting, unique nuance and cultural accuracy and flavor to all the different Age games.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good question. Because I'm sure there's probably a lot of people wondering.
That's a great question. I love these questions. These are great.
Now, Saint Irv. Do you guys think PC will get more love with games? We just got EA Access recently, but I'm wondering if Elder Scrolls / Avowed will make it to PC Game Pass day one. Also, do you think Microsoft will make any changes to the PC Game Pass launcher? Now, I mean, Elder Scrolls and Avowed, I would have assumed, yes, they will go to PC Game Pass day one because they're now...
Yeah, I would imagine every Microsoft game.
I honestly, it's not my pay grade for any of those decisions. I think Phil has already spoken to this stuff, and I would say that whatever Phil does not mislead people, so whatever Phil has said on that, I would take.
Well, I thought it was all first party stuff is day one on Game Pass, so I just naturally assume
even his shelf doesn't mislead people.
His shelf is like completely like, hey, you want the plan?
The roadmap is behind him on the shelf.
So great. So like I would say just like Phil is the person to listen to in terms of where things are ending up, and I just make games.
As far as the PC Game Pass launcher, I don't know.
We talk to the PC Game Pass people all the time. They're very excited. They do great work. They're very smart. They're also gamers. So I say it's going to be just like everything else. It's going to be a platform that's going to evolve over time.
Yeah.
Okay, Mort. G'day, panel. God, again with that panel stuff. We still can't get our names given to us. We just get called panel. It's so rude.
So rude. It's easier.
We're just an interchangeable rotating cast of characters.
The panel.
It's incredibly rude.
Next. Okay. It's like a sushi conveyor, right?
Awesome to have Adam back. Love the episode way back when you were last on. I was wondering when Age of Mythology makes its triumphant return. Also,
boy. Okay, keep going.
Also, for everyone, what's up with Monday? Thanks for the best Xbox coverage on the internet, guys. I'll mention Monday after you talk about Age of Mythology.
So like I said when we were being interviewed for the fan event, we get it. We know people. We're not like, what? Age of Mythology? What's that? Is there a game? No, we know. I have nothing to say right now. Just know that I love Age of Mythology. Everyone at World's Edge does, and we hear it from we know. That's the way to say it. We know we got a lot we're doing right now. Nothing to say right now, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
But we know.
Yeah, and with the Monday thing, now I myself don't know what's going on Monday. There's someone said something on Twitter, some murmurings have started about apparently something happening on Monday.
What Monday?
Yeah.
Like this Monday?
No, Monday coming. So for Australia, that's tomorrow. It's Sunday here right now. So for Australia, that's tomorrow, which means it would be my Tuesday being your Monday. I don't know. Something's supposed to be...
Was that... Okay, But was that corroborated by multiple?
I don't know. I have no
reports, or was it
idea.
just one
I
guy on
just
Twitter?
heard murmurings with Monday. So if
Yeah, because I remember seeing it was like one guy on Twitter saying something about Monday, and then everyone
that's
left
right, and that's where I think it's come
and
from.
then I didn't see anyone else say anything.
Look, Mort, if you're asking if I know, I've heard nothing about Monday. So, and I'd be very surprised if Adam's heard anything about Monday.
We just got through fan preview, so everything to us is just a crater of like recovering from fan preview and getting back on, everything continuing to roll to get H4 to a great state for launch.
Okay.
So,
all right, now we have because this was unexpected that I would be hosting today. I did not bring my props for the Keras question. Because usually when Keras asks us a question, when Keras asks us a question, it's very, very involved. There's usually a story. So I got props where I have like my wife's robe, and I've got this vape which I use as a pipe, even though I don't smoke. It's a broken vape, and I get that ready for Keras' question. But I did not bring my robe, so I'm not going to go with the props today. So Keras' question. Let's settle in for this one. Okay. It says here, well, Patreon deleted my question, so I will ask again. I am not above posting this several times elsewhere, and so help me, I will start being more mad cat lady in my further questions should it disappear again. Good morning, good day, and or good evening, Adam and Adam's Minders. Well, yeah, okay, so that's better than panel, I guess. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's better than panel.
That's unfair.
An owl friend told me the other day that they were going to marry someone they had only just met the week before. Oh my word, I said. You twit. To who? I don't know. That's gone above my head.
This is a weird...
Yeah, no, it's not. There's a lot more here. Okay, I wanted to make the effort to ask lovely Adam a proper question, but since I lack the reflexes and skill to really enjoy RTS games, I have no direct experience of Age of Empires, though do love history, and I appreciate those games which do so too. I wondered what, if any, historical events, documentaries, antiquities, or similar really fire up the panel's imaginations. The Antikythera mechanism, I said that with my Greek accent because it's a Greek word.
Yeah, that's a great.
So the Antikythera mechanism is fascinating and well worth reading about. An Australian YouTuber.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
An Australian YouTuber whose channel is called ClickSpring is remaking it by hand. Wow. Using...
Yeah, people have tried to rebuild it and
using methods of the time. There is also a BBC documentary called Ancient Worlds, which discusses civilizations from Mesopotamia up to the fall of Rome. And the presenter, Richard Miles, has amazing eyebrows. Any recommendations? Now, mind you, that's not all there is to it, so we'll go through all this. The last bit of this question, I'm finally at the end. Also, I appreciate that's probably a bit boring, so as an appendix, can Nick read the following tongue twister? Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the end. Okay, I'm going to have a crack at this tongue twister. Okay, Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make my batter better. So 'twas better Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. Got it. First crack. Okay, so back to the question.
So what's the question?
I think the question was, what are your favorite historical pieces, like a historical documentaries, like anything?
Yeah, so it says, what historical events, documentaries, antiquities, or similar really fire up the panel's imagination?
So for me, I'm fascinated by the Silk Road.
Yeah.
I think that's a super cool thing that happened with all these different civilizations trading with each other, and how information and coinage and technology and resources flowed through this whole thing is super cool, and it touched so many people. And when you find like Chinese coins in England because of these like crazy Silk Road connections that went through everywhere, and to me that is super fascinating. And I love the idea of all these civilizations interacting, because I think sometimes when we think about history, we think it's so insular, right? And we think like, oh, they are this because it's history and blah and these things. But that is so not the way that everything works. Like, as people, we're social creatures, and modern society these days, people are interacting with each other constantly, and with Twitter and everything else. And we think, well, life was so much different back. It's like, no, people just walked and they did it, and they met people and they had those interactions, and it was not as like blindingly across the planet.
It was a time when Twitter was the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly, right. And like that was the market, was people tweeting about everything that they were doing with each other. I mean, that information would carry. And if you think of information and technology as capsules, and you see how they move around from one civilization to another and then spread, and how that information changes everything else, it's fascinating to think about what that did for history and all the cultures that touched it. So like, to me, that's always been a really cool thing. I'm a person that likes I always fond of saying I like a little fantasy in my reality. Some of the games that I've done, like Red Alert, Command & Conquer Red Alert was a good example of that. It's like, we played the what if game. Like, hey, what if Tesla really did contact aliens like he said he did? And what if Einstein, what if the Philadelphia experiment was real? Like, what would that do? And what if we made a whole world based on that? And that's where Red Alert kind of went. So when I think about history, I love the things that are on the fringes of something. There's a nugget of real in there, like I'm going to get the name wrong, but the Antitheca.
Yeah, the Antikythera.
Antikythera mechanism. Super cool. Like the fact that it took all these years and x-rays and everything just to try to figure out what the heck it did, right? And I believe now it's believed that it's part of it was helping to chart stars it's and like sort of the rotation of...
It's almost technically considered the first computer, kind of.
Yeah, because it was processing information based on your heading and all this to show you star relations, and I'm like, that is so cool. But again, this is the whole thing, that people are a lot smarter than we think they were back in the past, right? You look at the amazing architecture in the South Americas, right? And all of these amazing architected blocks and all this. Like, people are smart for the most part, right? And they figured things out. We're very creative. So to me, I always get enthused about any of that stuff, like things that myth and legend have surrounded, but there's a nugget of truth in there about things. There's this whole talk about the Ark of the Covenant was actually like the whole lightning, like shocking things, and all was actually based on old chemical batteries, right? In like clay pots with metal lids that were in acids, and so it would create a shock, right? And so there's all kinds of fascinating things like that. Or every time they find a Dead Sea Scroll, right? And it's like, oh, more knowledge. Or wait, did somebody, and then you get the conspiracy theories of like, well, wait, did somebody write that to inject it? And but I love that. I love when history has a little bit of that fringe to it of speculation, because it just makes my imagination go crazy. So to me, it's all those fun things. But I can geek out on like armor and why the armor plates were changed and designed like this so that a blow would deflect up instead of away from the neck, right? Instead, it would deflect down, and that was okay because you brush it off to the side. Like, those kind of things to me are super fun. And fortunately, there's some of that we actually go into in Age 4 in some really cool ways, so that people can not only connect history more relevantly, but understand why things were done certain ways in history. And we haven't even talked about that at all, so I can't wait for people to know more about that too.
Yeah, no, that's good. So, very full-on question, but it was good.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, now you see why...
I gotta take a sip of water.
Yeah, now you see why there's props involved and everything. Okay. Last question from Patreon. Sukerbrood. Hi, panel and Adam.
Hello.
I would like to start by thanking Adam and all the people working on the Age of Empires teams for such a glorious return of the series into the forefront of gaming. I've been playing the Age of Empires 2 and 3 remasters and like them a lot. My question's for Adam.
Great.
And he actually does have a few. After the Age of Empires fan preview, the reception for Age 4 has been very positive. But there has been some discussion about the art direction for the games. It seems Relic has chosen gameplay over graphical fidelity and realism in some aspects of the game. For example, the arrows, weapons, unit models, and size of buildings. The overall colour palette seems quite colourful too. What were the reasons for this decision?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously everyone's going to have visuals, and presentation is something that's subjective in a lot of ways, right? How people see games in their heads. Since my whole life is full of these kind of like little adages and one-off things, one of the things I used to say when we were remaking Age 1, DE, and Age 2 is we were trying to capture the game that you saw in your head. Because if you go back and you look at the original Age 2 or the original Age 1, you're like, oh, what? This is what I was actually playing. So art is very subjective. I will say that one of the key things that we are upholding in Age 4 that's really important to us is something that came out of the mouths of the original Ensemble developers, which is Age is about a bright and inviting world. And one of the things we really wanted to do is uphold that. So, our game is colorful. It is. That's not to say that you can't, turn down, settings and things like that if you want to dilute that some. But that, we want to make a world that's fun to play in. And that will leans away from realism in some respects. And we're okay with that. Yep. That's just the approach we're going for. For things like arrows, I mentioned this earlier, but you were looking at footage that's months old, right, at this point, in terms of where we are in development. And this entire, everything we're doing now up to launching Age of Empires 4 is all about polish, tuning, optimizations. We want this thing to run on anybody's computer, from a crazy rig to a potato, right? And so there's lots of optimizations that are going on there, graphics, tuning, all the things that we can leave for later in the project, right? It's more important. RTSs are strange in that they don't work until everything works. Yep. And so all of the stuff that we've been doing is getting everything working. And we've been very upfront about showing you the game in progress. We're not trying to hide anything. And there's definitely things that we still need to tweak and touch. The arrows, actually, I'll let you in on we had a big issue because if you built a tower and you had a wall in front of it, even we had an issue where the towers were shooting through the walls and it looked awful and we hated it. And there was a massive discussion over, but balance and where you place your towers. And there were some people that are like, well, if they put a tower incorrectly in behind a wall, it shouldn't be able to shoot, through the wall to hit anything. And we're like, because that looks awful and it's not fun. But at the same time, it's like, well, but that gets in the way of gameplay being interesting, with where you put your stuff strategically. But you can put guys on walls now. So we ended up changing something that you haven't even seen yet, which is that when towers are in range, but they can't hit units because of geometry or walls, they'll arc their shots and try to hit them that way. And so you got this neat thing of direct fire is actually more ideal, right? Because the shots are going right at them, there's less time to react. But then you get arc shots as well that can actually go over things now. So there's changes like that have been made that you actually haven't seen in the game that we're doing in development right now, as we're also doing balance tuning and everything else. So we're always going to be iterating on the game and improving it. Yep. We've got all this time up to launch that we're still working on things, and then after launch we're going to be working on things as well. It's not. It's funny, a lot of people, back in the day, you released a game and you were done. Yeah. That's it, you're done. Here it is in the box, maybe, no patching or anything. And we're not taking that approach with Age 4. So we are going to be lockstep with the community, listening to everything that the community wants from the game, right? Balance is going to be a huge thing because, as good of a job as we can do and betas and everything else that we can do to make it great, there are going to be strategies people are going to find that we're going to have to figure out. Do we let it happen? Do we fix it some other way? Do we, nerf it? I hate to say that, but sometimes you have to.
It's nerf or nothing.
Yeah, well, that we don't. No. I'm always delighted when someone finds a tactic we didn't see coming, and we're like, wow, this is. Does it hurt the rest of the game? Is there a way to counterplay it? And and sometimes you have to let that breathe. Yep. It's a fascinating world we live in now, where something could come out and it could be the most game breaking thing ever for that week. Because no one knows how to deal with the strategy. And then a week later, someone figures something out with another civ, and it's like, oh, that wasn't such a big deal. Sometimes you got to let that breathe. Yep. So we're going to be listening to the community. We love our community. We love working with the community. We're working with the community on all the Age games, and we're going to do that with 4. Yep. So it's going to be a journey, right? And it's going to start at launch, and that's where the conversation is really going to start, because you're going to have your hands on the game, and then we're going to go from there. Okay. So just know that we'll be listening and making improvements and tweaks and changes based on where the community wants the game to go and what they feel. So
okay. And it's funny that that whole answer there covers a few other things we'll talk about in a sec. A few others. Handing over a franchise which is over 20 years old to a new developer must have been a little terrifying. On the official Xbox podcast, you mentioned that Relic was your first choice. Weren't you afraid that Relic would have changed little to the formula due to them wanting to do right to the franchise and having made completely different style RTS games?
Yes, that was obviously, you're always worried that a partner is not going to really understand the IP. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, Relic, and this came from Quinn, their design director at the studio, their game director. Quinn was like, we really like tying our shoelaces. And that phrase is awesome because they really do. Like, if you want to know about a tank and that's going to be, you know, like it's in a Company of Heroes game, they're going to know everything about that tank. Like, they will know everything because they do tie their shoelaces on everything that they do. And so their historical research and the way they dive in to think about things is methodical and very deep. So yeah, you know, you're always worried when you have a discussion with a new partner of like, boy, are they going to get it? Or, you know, but as someone that's made RTS games in the past, you know, myself, being able to jump in with the Relic team and immediately hit the ground running on talking about like, hey, this is what matters to us in Age of Empires. These are the things we want to make sure are there. These are the things we don't. But then they were like, oh, wait, you didn't say this, but that's really important to us in Age of Empires as well. Is that something you care? And we're like, oh my gosh, you know, we didn't mention that, but you're right. Yeah. And then there were other things. It's been a great, I guess the short of it is, it's been a great relationship with Relic. And we've had tons of times where we, you know, and I've said this before to press, like we as World's Edge would be like, hey, go a little further, like push it further. And they will be like, no, it's going to break Age. We can't do that. Like, stop, you're crazy. And we're like, oh, man, probably am. Right. Like, and so it's been a wonderful relationship between Relic and, you know, like I said, we also have people from Forgotten Empires helping us now, and they're playing they're part of our multiplayer group, and they play every day with us, and they're great too because they're just like, oh, this is awesome, and you know, there's always discussions on, hey, is this pushing the game too far towards just recreating H2, which is not what we want to do, right? We have unique elements to the game, and we want to make sure those are upheld. The great thing is that so many of them are like, oh man, I just want to play more of this, and like do these civs and I want to tweak them even more and make them even crazier, right? And again, we're at that point in the game where it's like, get everything awesome, polish it, get it great for shipping later this year. And so there are all these everyone's coming up with crazy ideas. Oh my God, we could add this to this set. Oh, what about we did this? And a lot of us are like, no, save it. Like, we've got tons of time to like explore these kind of things later. But yeah, it's been a wonderful relationship.
Oh, good.
Working with them. But yeah, there's always nerves, but Relic has been nothing but a confident and great partner over this development, so I really don't have any complaints.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear.
Over the choice that we made.
He's got two more. What's the future like for the Age of Empires Definitive Edition? At the fan preview, you announced expansions for both the second and third installment. Will this continue after the launch of Age of Empires 4?
Yeah, we fully plan to support all the Age of Empires games and the DEs that we've been doing, right? We fully plan to continue to support them, and fans love them. So why would we stop? I mean, like they've been great games. They're unique, and so people keep playing them. We're going to keep supporting them.
Okay, and the last one from the Patreon: are you as excited as I am to see a remaster for Red Alert 2 and Red Alert 2: Yuri's Revenge? In my opinion,
oh my gosh, yes.
It's gaming history that should be preserved and made available to as many people as possible. Kirov reporting. By the way, Age of Mythology deserves this too. I could ask hundreds more questions, but I won't annoy the panel any longer. Thanks.
So to speak to Red Alert, you know, I'm one of a core of people that created the Red Alert universe, right? After CNC, I got to Westwood just after CNC had launched. And so I was working, the first thing I did was the expansion that we did for Command & Conquer. It was called Zero Hour. Covert Operations. Sorry, Zero Hour we did later. Covert Operations are extra maps and things like that. First, like DLC pack. And then we started working on Red Alert. I gotta say, as someone that helped create the Red Alert universe and loved that game to death and had so much fun creating the characters and the dogs and spies and everything that we did, Red Alert 2 is a better game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say it. Like Red Alert 2, the team at Westwood Pacific, Dustin Browder, John Haidt, Mark Skaggs, Harvard Bonin, all the people that contributed to Red Alert 2 took Red Alert and just went boom with it. It's kind of like just the perfect version of Red Alert is Red Alert 2 and Yuri's Revenge, in my opinion. Like, I love those games to death. I love everything. Kirov reporting. It's just Tanya, Mirage, to nothing here but us woodpeckers, like Mirage tanks. Like, there's so much great stuff in all of that game, you know, that I am super jazzed.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I assume those are still on. I don't know. I haven't really been following. You know, obviously I have the CNC remasters. But I can't wait. I love Command Conquer Red Alert 2 is kind of a general 0 hour as well. Those are the two that I would love to see redone.
Yep.
Those two to me are like kind of the height of where we hit with the Command and Conquer series. My personal opinion.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now, we discussed this before we started recording. The Age of Empires community did reach out to me about asking some questions that they put on the forums. They've now put them on our forums. Now, because I'm cognizant of the time, I feel like reading these questions, I actually feel like a lot of it was covered in the Patreon.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at these too. These ones that are in the podcast. I've got it on my computer, and it seems like I've covered.
That's right. I feel like you did now, because I hadn't seen the Patreon questions before the forum questions. So it's turned out that some of the Patreon questions kind of answered the forum questions.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want, we can just breeze through some of them really quickly, and
well, I mean, we did the graphics discussion.
Yeah, we did. We talked about the gameplay and the graphics, so I'm gonna skip over that one for now. Is there going to be a possibility to rebind hotkeys in the options menu? Yes. So you will be able to rebind hotkeys. Is it as full as I want it to be at launch? It might not be. And we are going to continue to work on it and develop it, because to me it's super important that you can rebind everything, every input.
Yep.
That is something that I want in every game that I work on. And so we are going to continue to strive towards that with Age 4. So even if it's not there at launch, because I have to look at the feature sets again to see what's still on the table based on development, but we want to get it there. Just know that we will get it to that level.
Yep. And the only other one that maybe we didn't cover in our Patreon discussion is the game targeting to appeal more to the competitive subpart of the community. How much have the competing expectations of two very different parts of the community affected the game's development? And did you eventually pick a side, to put it simply? Could you give a few examples?
Well, so we did something actually to remedy this issue. Probably, I think the split happened about a month ago. Is we split campaign and multiplayer balance from completely. We did a Destiny, basically. They finally, split, and so you change something that doesn't affect this.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing both. What we want is we want a great experience that people can play in the campaigns and in Skirmish. Skirmish uses the multiplayer stuff, so you can you're going to get to experience that. But multiplayer is kind of driven by its own team in terms of balance and play and feel. That's not to say the games are completely different from each other. It's just that certain units or certain relationships might be different between campaign. And campaign has, like you saw, campaign has, there are some hero units that you play in certain missions because they're part of that element in that campaign of history. Those don't show up in multiplayer. There's differences like that. So we have some of the best players in the world from Age 2 and Age 3 playing Age 4. And so we have a very big focus on making great multiplayer with amazing moments, and I find the game to be incredibly watchable, which is awesome. Even this early, I'm just spectating and learning from people. That's the great thing I love about Age 4 is you can really learn a lot from watching really good players. Not just build orders and things like that, but how they're microing, how they're moving their units, and what they're bringing to bear, and how they're pulling things away and juking and doing other things with the abilities you have within Age 4. It's great to see. So we are targeting multiplayer towards people that really want to play multiplayer. But that said, we still have all of the options for people that just want to play a skirmish game, a standard game. That you just want to load up, you want to just goof around, you put the AI down, have fun. That's all there. Yep. So everyone can play the way that they want to play. This is a PC game, so it's a lot about options. Yep. We've basically been, and our campaign team has been great, and we have people playing the campaigns as well. We get tons of feedback on those. So we're doing both. We love both of the types of players, and there's a ton of them that play both kinds of games. But we want to make sure that multiplayer is competitive and that people that want to play it at a really high level can play it at that high level. But that doesn't mean we're going to leave out people that don't or can't play it at that level.
Okay, good. Now, look, Adam actually has the questions in front of him. So for forum goers that are watching, Adam is aware of the questions. All the rest of these questions are around the visuals, animations, graphics, that sort of stuff. We kind of covered that with the Patreon questions. They're still working on it, still polishing. They're still going through all that. So, yeah. Adam and the team are aware. Adam has these questions in front of him. So
I do. You can trust that I have seen these 5 questions that are 6 actually, because some turned into bullets and things. But but I have seen these questions. We are aware of them. We understand. And like I said, this is going to be a conversation we're going to have. We're going to continue to polish up to launch. We have a whole laundry list of things that we want to make sure are great. And then beyond that, we're just going to keep tuning and tweaking and everything like that. So much like you've seen what we've been doing with the definitive editions, we really believe in Age of Empires and the longevity of all of these games. So we're going to make them as great as we can and continue to iterate on them. I think the most of these scale, I will just say this to scale. Scale is always an issue in real-time strategy games. Like the minute we have gone through, I think every single thing you can do in terms of building size and unit size and this and that. Some of the things we wanted to make sure that were really visible, things like combat on walls, because you can fight on walls now and you can have sieges on walls, and it's so fun to have battles raging on the walls while you're also rampaging into a base. And we want to make sure that was all visible. So there are certain concessions that we made in terms of making sure that all of that could still be seen clearly. Unit readability is absolutely tantamount to us. So I've seen all the memes on Reddit and everything like that with the the castle and the elephant and the guys. I totally get it. Again, hey, you're going to have mod tools. If you want to mod and change scale and things like that, eventually you'll be able to do that if that's the way you want to run the games. I have no problem with that. What we're doing is we want to make sure the game is playable and visual and accessible for a large amount and millions of players around the world. So my priorities are slightly different, I think, and everyone's got their own, right, in terms of how they want to see the game and play the game. So between mods and us, we're going to constantly listen and change things. I don't want things to get too small, because then you're like playing like this is a game for ants. I don't want that. I really don't want that. And I apologize for the horrible impression.
The Zoolander reference was great.
Zoolander, a Zoolander reference, so and I can't go wrong in a podcast if I made a Zoolander reference. But scale is always an issue, and we've gone back and forth, and camera position, and zoom, and everything like that you could think of. And you scale something down, and then some people are like, I can't see this, and then you do that. I can't do that, and it's this vicious circle of things. And so we're at where we're at, and we're going to keep adjusting from there. But just know that our priority is combat readability, unit readability, bright inviting world, and making sure that everyone kind of knows what's going on in the battles. That's super important to us. And there's some tech that we've done to spread units out and things like that, so that there's not as much of a combat blob that could happen in the old Age games, so you can clearly read battle lines and things like that. We've done a lot to make that so that it's much easier to read, and it comes across as very exciting. Like I said, when you watch, I can't wait till people start to see some high-level footage of people playing the game at a high level once all the civs are revealed, and we don't have to worry so much about like hiding certain things. Like, we can't talk about, it's the more you reveal, the things that you haven't revealed become easier to slip on. So I can't wait till everything's out and we can talk about all the civs all up, and because there's a lot of crazy nuance between the civilizations and how the game works. But anyway, I think that's all. But I have seen them, and I appreciate just for everyone there. I super appreciate everybody's comments, and we all do, not just me. We have a huge community team at World's Edge, and Relic does too, and everyone that works there are people that are super passionate about Age, and so we appreciate all of the wonderful feedback and constructive criticism and everything that we get from people, because they love Age, and we get it. We understand. We love Age too. So we will continue, again, to try to make the best Age games that we can and highlight the uniqueness and make them all really fun ones that you can jump between and play for years and years and years, right? I want these games to last another 20 plus years, right? Until I'm ready to retire and I'm like, I'm out of here, but yay, Age is going to continue, right? I don't want to see these games go away in any way, shape, or form. There's a delightful series and celebrates humanity, and that's, to me, is super great. Look, I'm even wearing, and for the people that I'm wearing my H3 shirt today, baby. Have you seen these? These are awesome in the store. They're great. I love this thing. It's got worlds. It's got check it out. Forgotten Empires, Tantalus, 2 amazing developers we're working with. Got World's Edge on this sleeve. go to the merch store. We have some awesome stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Plug the
for
merch.
sure.
I'm plugging merch. I'm sorry. Like, I love our store. Like, it's so great to have games that you can have merch that like people love.
Yeah.
And so we have some great stuff on the Age store. So.
No, that's good.
Rant over.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Like, you get me talking
no,
about games
it's
and I'll
good.
just blah, blah,
It's
blah,
good.
blah.
That's why we. Well, like I said, I did say to the guys on the Age forums, I said, look, I can't promise anything. We don't have Adam for a super long time, and because we also started later than we were expecting to, that we kind of lost over an hour.
Yeah, I mean, but this is serious. I mean, like looking at my timer on our audio. I mean, we're a good hour.
Yeah,
and a half
we've hit an hour 40.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've still gone for a fair while. Not as long as the last time you were on. Last time you were on for a really long time.
That was an
That was a
epically
marathon.
huge. That was a marathon.
Yeah, that was full on.
But this has been great. I mean, I really appreciate, especially from your Patreon. Actually, all the questions have been great, but the Patreon ones have been great because, I appreciate the ones where they ask more about the team or about the insights into things. I love that stuff because there's so much that goes on in making video games that people don't know about, or don't think about, right? Or they think that we didn't think about it, and that's hardly the case when my whole job is to think about video games. But we do miss things, and so that's why we have such a great community.
Yeah, and that's why I asked and mentioned about the fan preview and the production and all that, because I just thought that, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I reckon the team that put that all together did again, remember, under the circumstances of everything, to put something like that
COVID,
together was
else.
brilliant. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
It was a big team that loves Age of Empires from across a ton of different companies and talent. So yeah, hats off to everybody.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So I think that's just about everything. I'm aware that we've already taken more of Adam's time than we were supposed to take. So look, we want to thank you again for honouring us with your presence again.
You're welcome.
You were great last time, and you were even better this time. So thanks again.
I'm improving. That's great.
I know,
level that up.
I know John apologizes for not being able to make it. So Kyra, you got anything else before we go?
No, I think everything's good on my end.
So on that note, I want to thank everyone. Please, do the whole thing. Like, subscribe. If you want to support us on Patreon, please do so. Follow us on all the socials. But until then, I want to thank Adam again. Thank Figments. Bye from all of us. Ciao for now.
Yep.
Thanks,
See you
gents.
guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching. Take care.